Good morning, all. On this snowy, how do I train it? On this snowy Sunday morning. Yes, I do know what day it is. Look, it's all snowy. Winter is coming. So I was just out in the real world, and I had an appointment, and we started about talking with this lady about her dog, and young, golden, year and a half old, and I was like, so how's it going with your puppy? And she's like, oh, pulling on leash is mayhem. And so I quickly gave her some tips and tricks to help with the pulling on leash. And I thought I'd share them with all of you before I went into the school and started my day. So the first thing is, how much exercise is your dog getting? Walking on leash is not exercise for most dogs because to me, walking on leash is a control exercise. It's constantly practicing under the understanding of not available. It's like driving, right? I can't be driving by a Starbucks or Tim Hortons and be like, I want a coffee out of there and turn across 3 lanes of traffic because that would cause a car accident. So I have to understand, I have to go to the next set of lights and turn, whatever. So for my dog, I want them to understand they might see a dog or a person or a bush they want to pee on or a person they want to visit, but they don't get to do that until they start with a control position from me. So for me, they have to pause, or I might hold their collar when they're young, and then I give the go pee, go see, go play, depending on what it is they're going to do. So everything on when I'm teaching them to walk on a short leash, everything but me becomes only on permission, because that makes it really black and white to your dog what is and is not available. The other side of that is a sniffy walk or a decompression walk where I might put them on a long line and let them be dogs. Let them follow their nose and I will follow along behind them and just let them be dogs. Those are both different skills. And when you start to mix them up, which is what I see most people doing, the dog gets really confused. So back to exercise. First, they need enough exercise. Ideally, off leash or a decompression walk could be considered exercise. Like I talked earlier in a previous live, I don't feel that exercise in a backyard is enough because it's boring, right? There's nothing new and exciting. But you can there's lots of places parks and stuff that you could go on a long line and let your dog wander around. Usually in that case, I put them on a harness and a long line so they understand the difference. And I walk the edges because they always pull to the edges. So you might as well walk the edges and not have them drag your arm across the field. So then there's loose leash walking. Like I said, nothing's available. As soon as you let them decide, I'm allowed to go pee on that bush when we walk by, they're saying, that's available. I get to pull to that. Or, the neighbor's coming down the road. I love the neighbor, so I get to go see the neighbor. When I see the neighbor, the dog's like, that's available. You have to make nothing available. So when I walk, I have the leash hand anchored to my body and I motor. I walk as fast as I can and I just keep going. And at first the dog's like, but what about this? But what about this? But what about this? And eventually they're like, how about I just walk with you? Because that's the most comfortable. And the leash anchored to my body gives them instant feedback. As soon as they go, what if I pull to the side? The leash goes, that's not available. And then you're still moving. So they keep walking with you. For the pulling forward, this is where I use an anti-pulling device. Halty, I'll use a prong collar. Those are pretty well all I'll use. I don't love the harnesses. I can get into that in a other live. And regular harnesses are technically designed for them to pull, so definitely not. So yeah, that's how I do loose leash walking. You're walking along and you're not letting your dog investigate the environment. You are walking. And once they get a hang of this, they're fine. It's just too much of, you're allowed to pull in that bush, but I don't want you pulling to the guy across the street. Or you can't go, you can visit this dog because they're on our side of the street, but you can't drag me to the dog across the street because they're across the street. That all is very vague for the dog. And this is where the pulling starts. One other big point about this is, your dog has to be okay with their environment they're in. And this is why I don't walk my puppies. Even though they have all the skills to walk on a loose leash, I need to make sure that they're capable of dealing with their environment. And when you're walking, the environment is constantly changing. So if a dog's nervous or stressed, they never acclimatize, they never settle themselves down and are functioning on a walk. So the way to test this, you can test this anytime. When you're walking along, stop. And what does your dog do? Does he turn and go, why are we stopping? Does he keep lunging forward? What do they do? When they stop and they look at you, hopefully they do, then start asking them to perform. Can you come when I call you? Can you sit? Can you down? If they can't, if they look at you with this completely stunned look, that's giving you information that this environment might be too overwhelming. And even though they're keeping it together when you're walking, they're just barely holding it together. And those dogs are the ones that all of a sudden I get clients who say, oh, all of a sudden my dog attacks me, starts biting at the leash and biting at me. That's that sign that the environment is too overwhelming. And I used to try to find solutions on what to do when that happened. And now I realize, no, this is information. This is information that whatever's going on is too much for your dog. And you have to reassess what you're doing. So that was a bunch of stuff on loose leash walking. If you have questions, which I'm sure you will, please leave them in the comments below and we'll talk again soon. Bye.